country. Think of that. That's a big statement. And more than double, a number from 1952. And it's barely covered. And that's only for one reason, because they want us to do very poorly on November 3rd. They don't want to tell the American public about this. The one advantage I do have is I do have a way of getting the word out, but it's very tough where they pick it up. Even this, they won't pick this up. I made a statement, strong statement. They won't pick it up because it's good news. They'll fabricate stories. They'll make up false stories. They'll put you at number one on Twitter all the time. Stories that aren't trending. These stories are so boring. They'll make up, the Times will write false stories all the time, and they'll put them, and yet they won't talk about the Biden corruption. They won't talk about where's Hunter, and they won't talk about, don't feel bad, the cameras are all off, don't worry, we just lost the last camera, I'm sorry. But they won't talk about the fact that Hunter got $183,000 a month to sit on the board of Burisma and got $3 million, perhaps $3 million up front. They won't, who had no job, who had no experience in energy. They won't talk about the fact that the wife of the mayor of Moscow gave him $3.5 million, right? For what? They won't talk about the fact that the father went to China in Air Force Two. Where's Hunter was with him. I put his first name, his real first name is Ware. We're going to make it Ware. Where's Hunter was with him. And in 10 minutes, he walked out with $1.5 billion to manage, which is millions of dollars in fees, millions and millions. And they won't talk about the fact that he was going for the big one next with China. He asked for $10 million a year for introductory purpose. In other words, he was going to introduce people. $10 million a year. This is a payoff. That's all it is. And they won't talk about the fact that the father was the big guy. To me, he's not a big guy. He's not a big little guy. He's very slight. Remember when he said a year ago, he said, I'd like to take him to the back of the barn? That's okay. I went like this. I'll take him to the back of the barn. The glasses. Next year will be the greatest economic year in the history of our country if we don't raise taxes. If Joe Biden is elected, he will delay the vaccine, prolong the pandemic, close down schools, and impose a nationwide lockdown. That's what they're talking. Can you imagine going? And we're making the greatest comeback of any country by far, and they're actually talking. He's talking about a lockdown. He has no clue, but he's talking about it. That's his only plan, to make you a prisoner in your home, a prisoner in your own country. And under the Biden lockdown, the recovery will be totally killed. The economy will crash. Country can't afford it. The people can't afford it, but country can. Can you imagine? I mean, your state has to open up, too. All Democrat governors, you, Michigan, North Carolina, I mean, they're all Democrat governors. And they're probably doing it because they want to affect the election. You know, they're probably doing it by November 4th, they'll announce, we've decided to open up Pennsylvania. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania will be opened on November 4th, you know? No, because it can't be. They can't be so stupid, what they're doing to people. And the countless people that will die from depression and drug overdoses and suicide and abuse and really a deferral of medical care. There'll be no school. There'll be no graduations. There'll be no weddings, no Thanksgivings, no Christmas, no Easters, no 4th of Julys. There'll be nothing. Will be nothing. And you know, one thing we've learned very recently, everyone likes the computers and the laptop, and we can learn from the computer. You don't have to go. Well, now we've given it the all-time mass test, right? A child being in a classroom, or if you're older, a campus, even a college campus. But a child being in a classroom cannot be replaced by a computer. It can't. It doesn't work. It's no good. And they're losing, you know, potentially years out of their life, and it's the important years, it's the development years, but the computers don't work. They're okay, but they're a small percentage, and that's come out loud and clear. Telehealth, great, it's been incredible. I think it's a 7,000 percent, and telehealth has been really great. It's going to have a great future, but not education. They have to be in their classroom with other students, and they have to find their way in life. And no future, this is no future for what they're doing in Pennsylvania, what they're doing in other states. This is no future for American youth. It's going to have a long-term impact on them. Biden's plan will destroy America. My plan will destroy the virus and make America greater than it's ever been. And the skyrocketing cases in Europe have shown draconian lockdowns, and that's what they are. They're draconian. Do not stop the virus. They've done it. Italy was so locked down. Now it's starting all over again. They just don't. It's a terrible thing that was unleashed on us, and we should never forget what happened. We should never, ever forget that China could have stopped it. They stopped it from going into the rest of China, but not from going to Europe, the United States, and the rest of the world. We can never forget it. But the far left is determined to lock down America because what they crave more than anything else is power and control over you. Joe Biden has made a corrupt bargain in exchange for his party's nomination. He has surrendered his party to the radical socialists, left-wing extremists, anarchists, looters. Today's left tolerates no challenge and allows no dissent. You see that. They have it locked. They have it locked down. That's the ultimate lockdown. You can do horrible things, or you can do nothing wrong, and they'll put in phony stories. I'm actually a victim of the opposite. I'm just thinking about while I'm talking to you. They do phony stories that are totally false, and they'll put them up, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do except explain it away. If you disagree with them, they try to humiliate you, smear you, and cancel you. Cancel culture, right? They control Joe Biden, and he's so easy to control. Just like they control every Democrat House member and every senator. They purge newsrooms of reporters who do not swear allegiance to their false narratives. You've seen some reporters are extremely upset. They end up getting absolutely decimated. They censor stories that reveal the corruption of their chosen candidate. This is what's happened now, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. Everybody knows that it's incredible. Nobody's seen anything like it. You don't read anything. You go to the Times, there's no story in it. You go to the Washington Post. You go to ABC. You go to NBC, the worst of all, in my opinion, NBC. The home of The Apprentice made them a lot of money over the years. Right? But they were bad. They were very bad. CBS has been terrible. CNN is just absolutely ridiculous. Thank goodness they have lousy ratings. Thank goodness. And MS, I call it MSDNC. How about MS? No, what they do is just